Hello, it's Ben Roylance here. I'm working in two capacities right now: for Apport Used Books, where I am, and what I will be showing you selections from, and also for Consensus Unreality, the podcast I do with my friend Dave. For more about Consensus Unreality, check out patreon.com/consensusunreality, where we have our episodes and print items, etc. Like I said, wearing two hats here, but I thought I would take some sort of interesting new arrivals or choice selections from the Apport stock, things that are relevant to Consensus Unreality, which is a podcast about, we call it new connections in the occult and strange phenomena and ufology and things like that. Really, it's kind of a podcast where we talk about weird things, weird books, weird people, often having to do with Fortean or esoteric subjects. So if you follow Apport, you kind of know what I mean by that. Anyway, so I thought I'd pull a few things to kind of bridge the gap between these two projects I'm associated with, and show you some cool stuff that is available for purchase or is relevant to the podcast if you're a podcast listener. First is a new thing that just came in. We have the 6th issue of the Saucerian, which was Gray Barker's magazine that he published alongside his Saucerian Bulletin, I think. I'm actually not super clear on the Saucerian Bulletin, the Saucerian, Flying Saucer News, the Saucerian Review. He has all these different sort of periodicals he'd put out for his Saucerian press, but these are just like super hard to come by, and so I have a few right now, and I'm very happy about that. It hurts not to keep, but I'm really trying not to be in the business of hoarding books for myself, although I still do, but so yeah, really cool thing that Apport has right now, and someone that we talk about all the time on the show. Gray Barker is basically, I mean, I can't think of a more influential figure in 20th century ufology, and also a pretty influential figure in DIY publishing as well. Really cool piece. What else do we have here? This is an off-print from the Journal of the American Society of Psychosomatic Dentistry and Medicine. This is by Berthold Schwarz, who's a name that might be familiar to you through his book UFO Dynamics, which is an interesting book that looks at the UFO subject from a psychiatric point of view. But this is actually UFO contactee Stella Lansing, possible medical implications of her motion picture experiments. Stella Lansing was a pretty important contactee and UFO witness who recorded some film of her UFO sightings, and so this is Schwarz's study of Lansing's encounters, and he's done a few. He is sort of the main proponent and disseminator of Lansing as an important contactee. So this is cool. It's an off-print from a larger medical journal that's likely hard to come by. Off-prints are a really interesting collecting niche to get into. They go back far as journals have gone back, and yeah, they're usually just like very simple with the title, if that, and a couple pages, however long the article is. Yeah, it makes for like an interesting little publication. So that's a cool recent thing currently on the shelves here. We've never done a Stella Lansing episode on the podcast, so that might be interesting. Here we have The Morning of the Magicians, which is really needs no introduction for alternative, fringy stuff. It's a really influential ancient alien book. It's about general occult knowledge, government secrecy around the UFOs, and all of this stuff. It's kind of one of those early theory of everything type books that really broke this kind of thing into the mainstream when it reached America, especially America and England. In English translation, it was originally written in French. This edition I like a lot, and I got it from Barbed Wire Books, who's another great book dealer. But this one has the Justin Todd cover, who is really one of the greatest paperback cover artists of the 20th century, for my money. No one else really like him. If anybody's selling an original Justin Todd piece, tell me. So that's great. Great book. What else? Here we have a nice 70s printing of Thought Forms by Annie Besant and C.W. Ledbetter. These are great. They're getting harder to find now that there's a couple modern reprints of the book, but this is like the quintessential post-Blavatsky theosophical book, and really influential in terms of even just like abstract art. There's a lot of these really wonderful color plates in here, these geometric abstractions that are, you know, supposed to be representing psychic energy kind of around different emotions or thoughts or feelings. You'll hear the term thought form in very many different situations, including, you know, tulpas, or like these sorts of entities that are created through thought that have almost a will of their own. But in this book, we're looking mostly at sort of wispy, abstract expressionist type, like, I don't know what you'd call them, works of art, but also documents of psychic energy. I don't know. Great stuff. And then finally today we'll have a nice copy of Human Personality and Its Survival of Bodily Death by F.W.H. Myers. Probably in the top 5 important parapsychological texts ever written. This is the University Books edition, which was edited by Susie Smith, who was also a pretty important 20th century investigator into the occult and the paranormal. If you want to know, you know, some of the ins and outs of how we've thought about the afterlife, ghosts, psychical phenomena, this is kind of a essential source document, and it's a book that I keep a personal copy of for sure. And so it's nice to have one in the shop as well. Mine has a purple cover with the same design, and this jacket is red, which is kind of nicer in some ways. Anyway, that will do it for today in this first installment of the Apport Used Books / Consensus Unreality book hour, or book minutes. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll be doing these more often as I kind of just pull stuff off the shelf. Follow Apport Used Books if you don't, or follow Consensus Unreality if you don't. For Apport, you know, we're a bookstore here. Come check us out. Follow us on Instagram, buy some books. For Consensus Unreality, subscribe to our Patreon or listen to our public episodes. We interview people all the time. Sometimes it's just me and Dave talking about whatever bizarre things we've been reading. Yeah, so check that out at patreon.com / consensusunreality. And this is Ben signing off.